This is Charlie Mike, the podcast. Veterans helping veterans, talking about things happening in the veteran community, things we've experienced and overcome, such as addictions, PTSD, depression, legal trouble, and we also promote veteran-owned businesses. If you're talking about it, we're talking about it. This is Charlie Mike, the podcast.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Charlie Mike podcast. As always, I'm your host, Ro. I ran out of breath, bro. Ro, and your co-host is William.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Pearland Podcast Studio, located just south of Houston, right here in the heart of Pearland. Man, it's good to be here, brothers. We're on a roll again.
Man, let's get
Watch
it,
out,
man.
brother.
Yeah, hey, we said it, man. This year is
Yeah.
going to be it. We're going to push this shit till the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
And then put new wheels on that shit and keep pushing.
I know. This has been our bread and butter. We really appreciate you guys following along. Really appreciate all your support. It's been an amazing year, you know. Even with the last guest, just been phenomenal. And we keep on rolling, man. There's a lot of great veterans, active duty in the area that we're excited to reach out to and get them on the show.
Man, we do. We got a lot planned and a lot coming up. So we're definitely interested, and we have a lot coming. I don't know what I was gonna say.
A lot, brother.
Yeah, we have a lot going on.
Stay on too.
Big
things.
Yeah.
Big things.
Man,
Yeah,
so,
and those connections that you make, you know, this is one of the things that I think we said on the last show, and I want to reiterate, because this is how this next guest came about. You know, it's the small connections that you make within the community that just lead you to more veterans, right? And one of our small connections was Jeff,
yeah,
right?
shit, that boy's everywhere all the time.
You know, and he
Small
was a guest. Yeah, he was a guest on the show, and one of his, of course, once you find one veteran, you find them all, man. And it led us to our next guest, who is Jonathan Michael Fleming. I'll read a little bit about the bio. So he's a young musician in call and response cadence, which I freaking love, man. I loved calling cadence as a young NCO back in the day.
Not me, bro.
And I imagine because
I
you got out
hated
of breath pretty quickly.
Oh man, I was a lot thinner back then.
Yeah. So Jonathan did come on the
Asshole.
scene with original marching cadence, Fallen Soldiers in 2022. Jeff introduced us, and man, it's been amazing since to kind of really be around you. I mean, we met in person one time, and I was like, oh yeah, this guy's got it. He's got a good heart, and just in the right path. And so I do what I do. I gave him a couple of books and was like, all right, be on your merry way, young soldier.
Oh, yeah.
Go on now. And I was like, all right, now that it seems like he's got a little more things in place, let's get you into the studio and let's get rocking. So please help me welcome our guest, Jonathan.
Man,
What do you
I
like to go
appreciate
by,
it.
brother? Do you like to go by Jonathan or?
Man, I introduce myself as John most of the time, just
Yeah.
because it's harder to mess up. But
Yeah.
but Jonathan's what I got by my whole life.
That's what's up, man. Tell us from the beginning, man. Who are you? Where you're from? Everything.
Man, so
Social security number, birthday,
Yeah.
everything.
little white boy grew up in Conroe, Texas. Man, my whole family done music, so this is not a new thing for our family. The military is a new thing. I'm
Yeah.
a little bit of a black sheep there. But yeah, as far as music, my dad was a choir director. I sang in choir my whole life, mostly against my will, but I did. And
I'm glad they made me now.
I'm thankful for it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Competed in all state competitions and all that kind of stuff growing up. That's actually where I met my wife. We sang together, you know, won her over with the beautiful tenor voice.
There you go, man.
I didn't have the looks, but you can rely on a voice. So
Bro, I think you need to start singing, bro.
That's what.
I recommend it. It works for me. No, yeah, and I've enjoyed music. I picked up piano, guitar as a teenager, and that sort of thing. Once I entered the military, I did everything I could to hide that fact from the drill sergeants. And I was successful all through basic training and all of that. Drill sergeants didn't even know my name for the most part. On the way back, or on the way to the bus to get us to AIT, they all said, "Who wants to call Cadence?" And everybody said my name because all my buddies knew I sang. The drill sergeants didn't know I sang. And so they threw me up there and I called Cadence. That's the first time I ever did it and loved it. It was a lot of fun. The drill sergeants were like, "Fleming, where were you this whole cycle?" It's like trying to stay away from you.
The gray man, brother, the gray man.
Yeah.
For a reason.
Yeah.
So tell us, when did you go into basic training?
20, oh goodness.
Sorry. Man, dates I know, military dates.
21. So yeah, it was I'm coming on 3 years in the Army, finished basic training in October of 21.
Yeah. Man, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, that's dope.
Where'd you do your basic training at?
Fort Leonard Wood.
All right.
Fort Leonard Wood. So I went in right after the whole like shark attack controversy where they said they took away the shark attack and everybody was heated about it and whatever. Let me tell you, they did not take away the shark. On paper, they may have taken away the shark attack, but it just depended on what higher ups were around at the time. You know what I mean? But yeah, I actually enjoyed basic training in kind of a weird way. I look back on it fondly now.
I did too. Do you? I'm curious to how hard is it now? Because I know back in our day it was a little bit different, and I know the guys the guys before us would say, "Hey,"
and I'm sure I'll say the same
you're
thing.
soft.
Yeah. We're definitely not saying that.
Sure.
If it's just implied. No, no, really. You know, well, what did you see about it? You know,
Man, so to be completely honest, it was a little bit of a letdown for me. I was expecting to be way more physically challenged. To be fair, I went in good shape. I watched people lose 100 pounds in basic training or whatever. So I know that it's not fair to compare my experience to everybody's.
Right.
But experiences may vary.
Exactly. Well, and that's the other thing. It's hard to explain to somebody. I got a buddy talking to a recruiter now. He just spent too much time wanting to join the military. He said, "Bro, I'm just going to do it." And I'm trying to explain to him what basic training is like. And I was like, man, at the end of the day, you really cannot base your expectations off of my experience because depending on what branch, what base you're training at, what unit you're a part of, what platoon you're a part of, and most importantly, what drill sergeants you have.
100%.
You are going to have a completely different experience. I know people who didn't touch their phone until graduation day. I know people who had their phone all Sunday every week. I know, and I was kind of in the middle. I think I got a 10-minute phone call each week or something like that, but people ask me these questions, especially young people on the internet.
I'm trying to think. Did you have a cell phone?
No, I had 2 phone calls, bro.
Yeah.
I had I called them when I got to basic training to let them know I was okay.
Right.
And then I called them at the end to let them know when graduation was.
Oh, yeah.
And that was it. Yeah.
Nothing in between.
No, but, I mean, it's the evolution. You know what I mean? Like, cell phones weren't even a big thing when we came in. God damn, bro, we're old as...
You're old, bro.
Bro, we went in the same year. Anyways.
Hey, cool. I got my first cell phone, my own cell phone, when I was in AIT. Yeah, we were, bro. Yeah, we were using payphones.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't
trip down memory lane right there.
They may have taken all those down now. I don't know.
You don't even know what they are, huh?
Our phone calls where they pulled out a big bucket of our phones. They said, "Grab it. You got 10 minutes." So we all scrambled.
Like, hey, this is yours. This is yours. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's just interesting how time changes, and you got girls and I got kids, and it's like, hey, what's it going to be like when they go? But so you said in 2021 is when you graduated basic training, and then that's when you really had a moment where it's like this call to say, hey, I can do this Cadence call, and it's really a lot of fun.
Right. So it's kind of funny how it happened. In AIT, me and my buddy called Cadence like 90% of the time. I think he was the PG or whatever you call it in training environments, and I was a squad leader or something. And we were trying to YouTube cadences because we were tired of the same 6 that were called every single time, right? And so I'm like, there's got to be more out there. And what I was finding was lyrics to old cadences. No one singing them, though. So I didn't know how they went. I didn't know a melody. I'm just looking at words. And so it just kind of hit me. I was like, man, I do music. Like, I could so go home and record these, if for nothing else, just for my buddies and whatever, so we can walk down memory lane 50 years from now or whatever. Right before basic training, I had actually just purchased my first music equipment because I recorded a song for my wife before I left. And so I had all of that at my disposal. I had some studio experience. I was like, man, I could so do that. I went home. I didn't do that crap.
Yeah.
I got back to work, I was focused on other things. But 6 months later, long story short, my brother-in-law convinced me to post the video of fallen soldiers that was taken. So that's a cadence I wrote while in AIT. A drill sergeant recorded it, and through some connection, I ended up getting that video. And so he convinced me to post it. I woke up the next day to like a couple 100,000 views, and I had no followers. So I was like, that's insane. I couldn't even wrap my mind around it. The next day, I think it was 1 million, and the rest is history. And so after that, people started commenting, hey, could you record Captain Jack? Hey, could you record Hey Jody or whatever cadences? I was like, you know what? I may as well.
Dang.
And yeah, that's how it all started. Now I've recorded 3 albums of cadences, a bunch of original songs, because obviously it continued to develop, and now whole music careers come out. All because my brother-in-law convinced me to post a video.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, Mario.
Yeah, thanks, Mario.
So tell us, man, what pushed you into the military? You said it wasn't a family thing.
Yeah, it's not really a family thing. The only military in my family is my great-grandfather. Passed away last year. He was a Marine. And when I say a Marine, I mean he was a Marine until the day he died. You went on a walk with that guy, it's like he thought he was on a hump again. I mean, he was just going. I couldn't keep up with him. He was doing push-ups every morning. In his 80s, he was doing workouts with me. I mean, just
that's what's up.
It was awesome. I want to be that at 80,
Yeah.
right? Well, COVID hit him, and that's kind of what I think started his spiral down. He had a couple of strokes after that, but after he somewhat recovered from COVID, he came to church. And he had a full beard. That's the first time I'd seen that in my life. I was like, man, you going with the caveman look now or what? And he said, man, my arm's just too weak. I can't shave. And so that's the first time I started to see my hero fall.
Oh, man.
But yeah, he was a huge, huge inspiration to me growing up, as far as, I mean, how many 80-something-year-olds do you know running around with their great-grandchildren playing baseball in the yard, right? And so
None.
So obviously looked up to him a lot. I didn't go Marine Corps, but that was always just kind of in me. It's something I wanted to do. A lot of people post 9/11 say I watched the towers fall. That's what made me. I was 7 months old when the towers fell.
Right.
So I didn't have any special connection to that, but I looked up to that generation. You know what I mean? If I have
he said 7 months.
Yeah, I was 7 months old.
I was a junior in high school.
So, but the guys I looked up to were generally those post 9/11 guys. That's the
Right.
generation I grew up in, and I watched the War on Terror on the TV, and I watched it or heard about it through people I knew, and I watched all the movies, and and I think honestly, media was a lot of the reason that passion started to spark. And so, my wife was very anti me joining all through our dating experience, and we got married. And 2 years into the marriage, I finally talked her into it. And so I think I was 20 when I finally enlisted.
That's dope. And so what MOS did you choose or given to you? Whatever it was.
Yeah, so engineer, I'm a dirt pig. Yeah. Heavy equipment operator, 12 November. So I knew I wanted to do engineering. I've always been in construction. I always thought what they did was cool, as far as, not only the construction, but the demolition and all those sorts of things. And one of my goals is sapper school. I do plan on doing sapper school, and I think there may even be opportunities for me to do that. But I've just always thought what engineers did was a lot of fun.
That's dope.
So
All right,
enjoyed it.
that's cool. And you did go National Guard, correct?
Reserve.
Okay, sorry about that. Reserve.
No.
Yeah, no. There's. I just wanted to really paint the entire picture of how you're doing this, because for me, I'm incredibly curious about how you handle, especially for reserves and National Guard, because Raul and I are active duty.
Right.
And there's a totally different animal. And I can't imagine having a full-time job, and then doing military part-time.
Right.
And especially when like the military and that the cadence calling is why you have so much spotlight on.
Right. Yeah. So it's I've got a weird thing going on. So when I first got back, I actually immediately got into a deploying unit. And so that was where my mindset was. That's probably part of why I didn't record any music for so long, is I was getting ready for that. A couple months before the deployment, they let me know, hey, you're not on the roster to deploy. I said, why, how, what happened? And essentially I got there like 3 days too late or something.
Wow.
They were pulling people from other units, filling spots. So there were people coming and drilling with us from Oklahoma and, different states. And I lived in Houston. I didn't deploy with them. So at that point, I got transferred to my other unit in Houston and started focusing on music after that. But I was working a construction job while getting ready for a deployment, while now making music on the side and all of that. And so it's been a blessing to finally be able to make the music a full-time thing.
And then through all that too, have a baby, right?
Yeah.
Not you personally.
Yeah. So, I didn't personally birth him. In fact, my wife didn't either. So we are officially adopting him tomorrow.
What?
So we've been fostering him since, I don't know, more than a year ago. And tomorrow is the official court date. We're going through the adoption.
Congratulations,
bro.
man.
Congratulations. That's dope, man.
It's been a cool experience.
I imagine.
It's been a stressful experience too.
Yeah.
Going through the whole foster
How-
process,
How
man.
old was he when you first got him?
Right under 2 months.
Wow.
He's about 1.5 years now. So
Whoa.
So tell
yeah.
us a little bit about that
It's
process,
crazy.
man. Was it a lot of work?
yeah, so I think when we started it, we didn't know whether to go through CPS or through an agency. We didn't know how all that worked. And basically, if I were to put it in simple terms, if you go through an agency, it's going to cost you a lot of money, but you get representation. And that's the way we went. And I did not have the money at the time, but I was like, I will earn this money because I think this
Manifested.
exactly.
Yeah, man.
This is the way we need to do it. Unfortunately, I think CPS is filled with a lot of good people trying to do good things in a bad system, right? And so when you go through CPS directly, if you go to a court date for adoption and that judge says, "Nah, give the mom more time," the mom gets more time. I mean, you've got no people on your side. Going through the private agency, you don't get any of the stipends or any of the help, that typically you'd get through foster care. But what you get is an agency on your side who's gone through this before. And so I'm kind of doing a commercial for them right now.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to get into that.
You
But
guys did a good job.
but no, yeah, they have helped a lot as far as what counties we can go to that are going to make the process easier, getting the case in the right places, working with the right lawyers, and they have relationships with these people and really, really, really help the process. And when you're looking at a child that obviously is not safe where he was,
Mm-hmm.
and you have an option to figure out how to make money and spend that money to make sure that child is safe, that's just what I was going to do. And so it's worked out. Obviously, the kid had him for 1.5 years, and I'm glad he's finally going to be a Fleming officially.
Bro, that
Yeah,
hats off to you, man. That just seems like it's amazing, man. I think if I was ever in that situation, I would want to do the same thing. You know what I mean? I'm kind of old now, bro, but yeah.
No, yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, I think about now I have a biological family. I'm blessed in that way, but there's a lot of people who've taken me in along the way. I lost my mom when I was 12. My dad lives in another state, and so there were portions of my life where people literally took me into their home as a teenager. And now to have the opportunity to push that on and take somebody in who knows where he would have ended up,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to try to give a shot to somebody means a lot, especially when that was done for you.
I'm going to be honest, man. It's dope having you here because you seem like a good, I don't want to say kid, man, but a young man. You know what I mean?
Goes that way.
You
You're only half
seem
our age.
genuine about everything that you do and everything that you're saying. So, man,
Thank you.
that's hard to find nowadays
Yeah.
with these young whippersnappers out there, bro.
Bro, come on, really?
No, for real,
Really,
man. I mean,
never.
it really doesn't matter what career you're in. If you're my age and you're willing to grind, I mean, you're going to stand out above 99% of people. There's just no character, no work ethic, and I sound like an 80-year-old now. But any company I've worked for, any career I've been involved in, I've had friends just asking me for advice, and I'm like, man, wherever you go, climb up the ladder until there's nowhere else to climb. Move somewhere else with a taller ladder. There's just not a lot of people who are willing to work for a 20-year-old's pay,
So what do you think
but
that
go
comes
above
from?
and beyond, right?
Where does that come from?
Oh, yeah, my family, for sure. My mom, when I was 10, was sitting with me on a street corner while I was selling crafts, because I've always been like a little entrepreneurial type of guy. And I told her, you're going to crack up at this, but my first thing that I sold was a marshmallow gun. All right, if you've ever seen people take PVC and construct this gun, you can put a marshmallow in one end, blow on it, and it'll shoot out the other end.
Oh, shit.
So I saw this. I was like, I could so recreate that. I'm like 9 or 10. And so I convinced a grandparent or somebody to take me to Home Depot. I pulled out the piggy bank and I bought some PVC stuff and some spray paint. And I started making these, and I was selling them for $8 a piece or 2 for $15. That was at my mom's advice. And she'd sit with me on a street corner where people were selling crafts and blankets and whatever. And I'd make $80 or $100 in a weekend, and I just thought I was rolling in it,
You were at that age, brother.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
were.
And so, yeah, that's where it started. And after that, I always had a business. I was making websites through high school for people and editing videos for people and all of that sort of stuff. And I don't know, pretty early on, I just figured out that there is money out there if you're willing to grind for it and convince somebody that you're worth it, and if the music falls through tomorrow, I'll be fine. You know, there's money out there. You know what I mean?
I'll go back to grinding.
There's just
You can't stop the grinding.
nothing
Nah,
to worry about.
nah,
Can't stop
just
it.
can't.
Once you got
Can't.
it in you, you know, it's and I think that do you think that was multiplied or exemplified even more because you joined the military? You know, it's one of the things that we always hit on as
Yeah.
vets.
I'm gonna be honest. I probably have a controversial view on this. I lost some discipline in basic training. That sounds weird, but there's kind of the like E4 mafia, dirt bag culture thing that goes on. Before basic training, I
That's
was
in
up
basic
at,
training as well.
well, no, not really.
Oh, okay.
But especially once you get into AIT and rules start to relax and
yeah.
and people want more freedom, that sort of thing. Before basic training, I was waking up at 5 a.m. every day, hitting the gym first thing every single day, working long hours, working a few jobs at once a lot of times, and discipline was my word. You know, it didn't matter what time I went to bed, I was waking up at 5 a.m. Not good for your health, but it was very good for my discipline. When basic training hit and I had to kind of give up my ability to think or plan for myself and hand that to somebody else, it was really, really hard to get home and start to do that myself again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Once I got home and I have to make my own schedule again and I have to be able to plan and think for myself again, it was really, really hard to readjust it. And I don't even know that I'm quite back to where I was before. It's still hard for me to commit to those mornings where I want to wake up early, but nobody's forcing me to. That idea. But I'm getting there.
You know why that is?
Why is that?
It's the circle you keep, bro.
Ah,
I'm just telling you this because what I see is very similar. Like you went from, hey, I've got this huge mission, you know, you relinquish your ability a little bit, and then all the people around you, like you
Right.
said, the E4 Mafia, there's a bunch of them, you know, we were all part of it at one time. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
Keep
I was
strong.
part of it a couple of times.
Yeah. So, hey, don't come after us. I know there's somebody out there that has that freaking trademark, that E4 Mafia. Anyways,
Come after us.
so what I was just saying is like, you know, you get around that and you get comfortable.
right.
And it's if you were, you know, I'm not tooting my own horn, but let's say if you were around me and I was around you, we just push each other because
Yeah.
you're
yeah,
around, you know,
for
right?
Sure.
Iron sharpens
Yeah,
iron.
yeah, you're right.
You know, I know this guy, you know, Raul's going to push me, and I'm always going to give him shit for whatever he's doing. So
My weight lately, bro. He's been on my ass
I
about that.
didn't
Bro.
say it.
Every chance he gets, he's like, "You sure you should eat that, motherfucker?"
He didn't call you fat.
Yeah.
He just implied
Yeah,
it.
he implied it.
I
I
told
got
him,
it.
you know, the best exercise you can do.
Is exercise.
No, they're called pushbacks. You push yourself back from the from the table. Bro.
How do I cut
Push
your
yourself
mic off?
away from the table.
No,
Oh,
hey, that's
man.
what my papa used to say. Same guy I was telling you about. People would ask him because he stayed trim and fit his whole life, and people would ask him, you know, how do you do that? What are you doing? He's like, when I notice I gain a few pounds, I stop eating. It's not that complicated. You just push the plate a little
But
further.
food
you know?
tastes so damn good. though.
Oh man.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you're spot on. So I've got a group of a few guys that I go to the gym with every morning, and that has
So-
helped
oh, yeah.
so much to
Oh, yeah.
know that if you're not there, somebody's gonna chew you out for it, you know. And it's crazy you bring up iron sharpens iron, because a lot of people don't know this about me, but I preach. So
Yeah.
I was teaching at my church Sunday on literally that proverb, and the idea of pushing back against each other, pushing each other to grind. And all of that starts with self, right? Evaluate yourself before you start to try to condemn other people. But if you've got a group of people wanting to work on their self-discipline and then discipline each other, man, you're going to be unstoppable real fast. And iron sharpens iron. I mean, you're not talking about two blocks of iron hitting each other. You're talking about a sword.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting ready for a fight. Whatever it is that you're preparing for, if you can't tackle these little battles throughout life, then you're not going to be ready for the war. And so having the people who are sharpening you along the way is so important.
Let me tell you something, man. In my life, man, I've watered up when I've heard the Star Spangled Banner every time, man. You know what I'm saying? It's something that gets me, you know, and I know William feels the same way. I heard your version of it last night, bro. You had me crying like a bitch, bro. That shit was dope, man.
Thank you,
So
thank you.
hats off to you with that, bro.
I appreciate
I
it.
really wanted to say that. And you spoke a little bit about your religion, you know, and that you preach. Now, before you even said that, I was going to ask you that question because of the song I heard last night. Also, Strength Like This.
Yeah.
I heard it in there, bro. So how did
Good,
that all
good.
come about, man?
So I don't know. I started running out of ideas. If you haven't noticed, you listen to the radio, all the songs are talking about the same stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just running out of stuff to write about.
Movies,
You know,
Netflix, they're all the same.
yeah,
They're revamping
yeah,
all the time.
exactly. That's why there's so many remakes out there. And so I'm sitting there like, man, what can I write about that's original? And then I decided to rip off Bible stories. So,
Hey, man,
That's the
and
best. That's the best,
bro.
bro.
Everything's a remix.
Yeah.
Everything's a remix.
So not exactly original, but the first song that I did that with was called Battle Cry. And you'll notice several different Bible stories or themes in that song, but it's written with military terminology. So it kind of takes the first person perspective of, let's say, a platoon sergeant who's given a mission for his guys, right? And he gets a call from the top. Someone's in trouble. We're throwing sand on the table and we're mapping it out. You know, this whole thing. And it's all this military terminology. And when you dig into it and you look at the entire song and all the terminology used, it's talking about Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
The second verse uses the story of Gideon. Gideon and his men surrounded the camp of the Midianites, screamed and blew their trumpets, threw lanterns on the ground, set fire. They all thought that they were screwed and they killed each other. They just offed themselves because they thought that was the end. They didn't have to kill a single person. They did it themselves, right? So it's kind of that psychological warfare that they brought in. Well, I used that for the second verse. And so I really enjoyed crafting that with some kind of hidden meaning and then just watching the comments to see who picked up on it.
Oh, yeah.
So I decided to keep going with that. The Strength Like This you're talking about was the story of Samson. I just told it in a way that maybe you haven't heard the story of Samson. And so same thing. I posted it. I just watched the comments. Wonder who's going to pick up on it.
I listened to it yesterday a few times, man. I was like, oh, man. So this kid right here's got something.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it too, man. The thing that I always go back to, like I said, everything's a remix. And even if you look at like the leadership books that we read, right? Like John Maxwell's well known for what it is he does, and where does he get all of his leadership lessons from? You know, as the Bible. And the more I dig into it, and the more I read the Bible myself, I'm able to extrapolate. Man, that's a good word. Extract different lessons, and I use them for my morning videos, man.
Right.
You know, and I've been making videos now for a couple of years, and I don't have to say that this is a godly lesson without it being a godly lesson.
Sure.
We were talking about it yesterday. I gave a class, and even through the class, we were talking about core and, you know, how do we like actually assess ourselves? And one of the things that we use is like with true love, you know, and that comes from, I can't remember which verse in Matthew. I have to look at my notes. But examining yourself, like being vulnerable to say, you know, where am I and how do I actually build this and get better? And it's like, you may not know that it's a godly lesson, but he's in there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So y'all know Oliver Anthony. Have you heard his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, blew up recently. Well, he went on Rogan pretty quick. I mean, within a few weeks of that song.
I think it was the next week, bro.
It was like, it was super fast.
Yeah.
But he pulled out a Bible, and that's the first time I've ever seen a Bible pulled out on that podcast. And he reads out of the book of Proverbs. But what he said, I thought was very interesting. He said, look, you don't have to be a Christian to accept that these are wise sayings. Like a proverb's a proverb.
Yeah.
So if America would just commit to reading a proverb a day, we would all be so much better. And man, I could not agree with him more. It's got to be my favorite book. For those who don't have a good father in their life or some sort of mentor who's speaking that kind of wisdom into your life, man, take it from Solomon. That's literally a father's writings to his son. And you just take a proverb a day and you reflect on it. You actually examine yourself.
The hard part.
It'll start to make a difference.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. So how much hate do you get for speaking? You know what I'm saying? For saying that you're a religious person and things of that nature.
Okay, surprisingly, I get more hate based on the religion thing than even on the fact that I'm doing cadences. Because I expected, okay, we're going to have some vet bros that are like, oh, this guy doesn't know the first thing about the military or cadences or whatever. You know?
Yeah.
And that exists. That's out there. It happens. But I get more hate when I say anything about Christianity than doing the cadences.
I know you're doing something right.
So, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not here to sell anything except me.
be you,
at
bro.
the end of the day.
Don't ever change.
And I am
man.
not going to pretend to be somebody else. And so if you don't want to follow me because I'm a Christian, seems like a silly reason not to like the music, but you know, you do you. I have people I don't like who are still successful too. So you know what I mean. So.
Yeah. So you, I noticed you went hunting this weekend, man.
Oh, yeah.
Or was it last weekend? Was it this weekend?
Week before last, I think.
You shot some good, some deer.
It was pretty good. Yeah. So, got 3 in total. It was a deer or something. All of them were deer.
Yeah. He said one person,
one
deer.
No, I got my buck and 2 does, I think.
Oh, that's
I shot a turkey while I was
You
out
didn't
there.
bring any meat? What the?
No, it's being
Some type of
processed.
offering?
I'll have to bring you guys some.
I got Mark working on that for us.
Yeah.
He went hunting this last weekend,
Oh,
so
yeah.
he's gonna be. I got him.
No, it was a lot of fun. I got a friend up in what's it called? It's a little small town, Panhandle of Texas, and he'll bring some people out there and hunt sometimes. So we did that. We did coyote hunting. I didn't see a coyote, but I've heard generally they're more busy out there. I got a turkey as well. So yeah, it was a successful hunt.
that's
It was my
badass,
first hunt
man.
ever though.
Oh, your
It was
first hunt. That was my next
first time.
question.
First time.
Growing up in Texas, you never crossed it.
I did not. I'm telling you. So my family was obviously not anti-military, not anti-gun, those sorts of things. We just didn't really do it. I shot some guns. I mean, growing up, but we didn't really hunt or anything like that. It wasn't like a big thing for our family, and so that's something I've wanted to get into for a while, and had so much fun. I have a connection with a guy in North Carolina who's invited me to go black bear hunting.
Oh shit!
Wow.
And at first I said, bro, those things can hunt you back. No, what are you talking about? But after this hunt, I was like, you know what? I think I could do that.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of fun.
Hey, Yogi's gonna get you back.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, man. That's crazy, bro. It's badass to have you here and speaking about everything, man. So I know you got a lot of backlash about the hunting situation. What was all that about? What was the comment?
I don't know, man. I got messages, comments. Some of them were just like, broken heart emojis. Like, I can't believe you killed the deer, you know, whatever. But I got a lot of them that were like, you scum of the earth, waste of oxygen, whatever, all this stuff. I'm like, you guys know what I do and what I promote. Like, and I specifically made a video where I said, and we can censor this out if y'all need to, but I was like, bro, I'd kill a person if I had to. I'm not worried about the deer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was bizarre, but
Self-defense.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? It was either me or that deer, bro.
Yeah.
Nah, man. So, I think a lot of people need to be reassured about when you're hunting, they just assume that you hunt and then you just, you leave it there and you take off. That's not what, hunting, you get it to eat it. And
there to eat, man. I already spent the money on the trip. I might as well take meat home. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. So I think a lot of people forget that part, man. And I mean, shit, it's fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the shooting qual was like for you guys, but they've got these, they call it the dot 40. They got the pop-up targets from 50 to 300 meters, right? And
why'd you say it like that?
well, because the shooting qual
Did they have the automated things when you were in the
I don't know how it all worked, but I know that the shooting qual used to be a still target, right?
Yeah.
At different distances. So we were training for that. And then the day before our shooting qual in basic, our drill sergeant came in, he took the hat off. He's like, guys, we've been training you wrong because they just rolled out a new qualification that takes place starting tomorrow. And so we got to completely change plans. And so he explained the whole thing to us, and man, like 70% of the company failed that.
Oh,
that day.
shit.
Dang.
Yeah, we were there for hours and hours and hours trying to get people through. And eventually, I think they ended up having 2 days of shooting qual. And I don't know if anybody in my platoon ended up not making it through. But a lot of people struggled. Those pop-up targets was something else. The only reason I bring that up is same thing with hunting. I mean, you don't know where it's going to come from. You don't know how fast it's going to be moving. And when my wife was hunting, it's the same thing, man. Once she pulls that trigger, you don't know which way the thing's gonna run. And so I had her on a 308 with a Leopold scope, so she's like 9x zoomed in on it. I'm sitting there with a red dot on an AR-15, and I'm just ready. I'm like, here we go. But I got a couple.
That's
worked out.
Then my apologies. I thought you were calling those old timers to that. I'm very defensive about my age and my weight.
Again, I didn't
Both are what's
say
up
that.
there.
I implied that.
That was a good one, bro. That was a good one.
Nah, man. Sometimes I don't even know why we do this podcast together sometimes.
Oh, man.
So much fun.
No, controversy is a part of being on the internet, though. It is what it is.
So what's your advice to somebody who's like, this is exactly why I don't post?
I can't argue with the logic. But at the end of the day, if you walk down the street and you ask people, what do you think of Kanye West? Oh my goodness, you're going to get a lot of answers. What do you think about Drake? 90% of people hate him, but he still is richer than you. So it doesn't matter at the end of the day. And I'm not saying this is just about wealth, but if you are putting something good out into the world, especially if you're making a living doing it, bro, people are going to think what they think. That's true at every level. If you, I don't care if you work at McDonald's, a coworker's going to hate you. It is what it is. If you're being your true, authentic self, you're going to face backlash. And, it's just exacerbated once 1,000, 100,000, 1 million people are watching. But you take it in stride, man, because at the end of the day, those people don't remember who you are the next day, and you don't know them, and they wouldn't say it to your face.
Haters be haters, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, one of the things that I do on social media, man. I post and I ghost. I don't read none of the comments. I don't respond back to anybody. I don't do any of that. And he's actually been getting after me because of growth and, social media growth. You respond,
right.
Say what's up.
Like, even if they hate you, man, respond. That's my thing. I don't like that. Because I can take the time to intentionally respond kindly.
Right.
I've had a couple of dudes just randomly like talking about my mustache or my earrings, right? You know what I mean? And so I went to their page and I got a screenshot and I was like, he's a business owner and he's got girls. And so I wrote back and I'm like, I'm just trying to teach my kids that to be who you are. I see you're doing that and you're successful. You know what I mean? And I kind of left it at that. Just like,
okay. What are you going to say to that?
Yeah. You had the audacity. Well, you had the time. Like, whatever I did upset you so much. Like, you're hurt. Not me. I'm not doing anything wrong. But you responded with hate. And you had a choice. You could have chose to respond kindly or just keep freaking scrolling. But because of what you were going through, you wanted to respond. Yeah. So I'm going to take the time to respond too, but in a better way.
No, I understand. And what haters don't understand is they are helping you by dropping a hate comment.
Please do.
I don't care what you comment. Just comment. So I had a post recently. It was that Yogi Bear song, right? And I made a little promo for it. And I got a few friends to help. One of them dressed up in a Yogi Bear costume and all this. They were running around. I intentionally left off one shoe. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but I was wearing one shoe for that entire video. You know what happened? Half the comments were people going, bro, where is your other shoe? And people laughing and cracking jokes and whatever. But guess what? That's engagement, So at the end, I don't like being gimmicky like that all the time, but I'll throw something in there like that occasionally.
Whatever works, bro.
Just drop something. I mean, there's this one guy, what's his name? Starts with a J. Justin something. He says, listen on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Just found out he's in the military recently, which
Air
is
Force.
I had no idea. I also found out that he attends the Church of Christ, which is the church I attend. But anyway, it's bizarre. But in his videos, you'll notice randomly he's got like a body bag in the background.
Yeah.
Or like this mummified looking cat, or just like these random objects, but just so that people will comment about it. And so I don't care what you're commenting. Comment, tell me you hate me, my guts, the military, that whatever. That's fine, because then my followers will go and argue with you, and it's all more engagement.
That's what's up, man. I had some hate. I remember when I started the apparel brand, man. I had somebody get on there and talk shit, say something crazy like, because a lot of our shit is patriotic. So like, fuck you, and what you stand. It was whole during them 3 words.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So, during that situation, and he just got on there talking shit, and I was like, hey, bro, I love you. and tell your mom I said hi. You know what I'm saying? That's all I said, bro. And I left it at that. I was like, fucking cool.
Well, you know what
Yeah.
I've noticed? Most of the time, people who talk the most crap have the worst profile pictures.
Oh,
Mm.
yeah.
And I will literally save their profile picture on my phone and respond to their comment with a zoomed in picture of their face. That's all I say. But it's because most of the time, the people who take the time to leave those types of comments have the funniest looking profile pictures.
Yeah.
And I'll respond with that little screenshot. And I had one guy literally just respond, touche. So, you know what I mean? It's just- I probably should take your advice and respond very kindly, but you know, most of the
Hey
time.
man,
I leave it alone.
you're young. Go for it.
Nah, you gotta do it, man. Do it. I ain't mad. I ain't
Man, don't
mad.
get me wrong. I'm sure at your age, I'd have done the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be petty, but now I'm just a little bit older.
Yeah, bro,
Yeah.
we tell people all the time, man. Say like, yo, don't get this kindness confused, bro,
Yeah.
because I will smack the shit out of you. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I've been to jail. I'll
Yeah.
go again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could
Oh,
use some
man.
sleep. I'm
Oh,
partially kidding. I'm partially kidding.
Partially.
Yeah.
I said the
Yeah.
same thing to Eli recently. We were filming some videos and there was one spot we really wanted to stop at and get a video, but it had a big old no trespassing sign. Man, okay. I guess we won't go to jail tonight. And he's like, yeah, I've never been, don't want to go. And I was like, you know what? The break kind of sounds nice.
No, hey, no cell phone, no email, no work,
Can't nobody
nothing.
talk to
Yeah.
me.
Play some cards with some
Bro.
people in a rec room.
Man, hey, I'll be honest, it's some of the best sleep I ever got in my life, man. I'm not recommending it, and I'm not like promoting jail, but it's good sleep.
It was nice.
Oh,
Not me, man. I've never been, so I'm good to go.
you're missing out. Let's go tomorrow.
Yeah. Or
Oh, so
find,
you-
give me. It's got to be a good reason.
Well, we'll find something.
There are reasons.
Hey, believe it or not, they'll take you for
What were
anything.
y'all doing? You were shooting a video with John. How did Eli escape? I don't know, man. That guy is fast.
Hey, what the title is, How to Get Arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, that thumbnail would go crazy.
Try that out.
Let's do it right now.
Nah,
man.
bro. No.
No, man, there's some people who will do some wild stuff for the internet,
Yeah.
for views. And I don't know. At the end of the day, I try to keep in mind that I want to be remembered for something positive
Right,
at the end of this, right?
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of stuff I could go and do for views.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to stay loyal to the brand and who I am,
That's
and
what
who I
it's
want to
about.
be known for.
How would you describe the brand?
That's
Should I ask Eli?
That's a question I should really have a quick
Nah, I'm
answer
just curious.
to.
You know, let's say, you know, when they're asking you, yeah, who are you and what is
Who
it
are you,
you're
yeah.
trying to do? You know, or you said it too. What do you want to be remembered for?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, there are a lot of people who have done, who've experienced and done things that the average person just will not understand. You know, sitting with that World War II veteran, Don Graves, that I'll be putting out that video pretty soon, but he was a flamethrower on Iwo Jima.
Bro, that's stupid to even say, isn't it?
Yeah.
What did you just say it again?
Flamethrower on Iwo Jima. You like that was a ROE did not exist, right? So
Yeah, no
I
kidding.
mean-
My Jess's uncle was a flamethrower in Vietnam.
Really?
Yeah.
yeah, their life expectancy in World War II was 4 minutes once their boots touched the ground, and he lasted 6 weeks on Iwo Jima. And so, anyway, talking to guys like that, talking to guys from Vietnam, talking to post 9/11 guys, people have sacrificed a lot, and they come home and that doesn't just go away. I mean, that's part of them. And so as much crap as we like to give to people about being too hua and all that sort of stuff, I don't care if all you ever did was basic training in AIT. You sacrificed months of your life away from everything that you knew. And man, you'd be hard pressed to convince me that most of us just do it for the college, right? I mean, there's something in there that you believe in. And so primarily my goal is to reignite a passion, a drive, and a discipline in guys who've gotten out. That is the main takeaway I want people to get. Because I get emails and DMs and whatever from guys who said, look, you know, I got out 10 years ago. I've got all these injuries and I was on the edge of giving up. Like I really didn't know why I did what I did. why I went through the experiences that I did, and was it all worth it? You know, you watch an Afghanistan pull out and you go, what were we even there for? You know, and all of that. Well, what I've found is when people hear these cadences or whatever, something that reminds them of their military service, and specifically reminds them of day one or day zero, when they had the drive, they had the passion, and they believed in what they were doing. I think that opens a door that hasn't been open in a while, and brings back that sense of purpose. And I could tell you about some of the emails and letters I've read and whatever. And it's not about me. I didn't even write most of these cadences.
Right.
But there's a lot that I haven't experienced. I don't even begin to understand. But if I have a gateway into that world, right, just we served in the same branch, and I have an opportunity to reach that audience, I want to do good with that. There's a lot of good organizations doing good stuff. There's a lot of money and time and volunteer hours that go into this community. And if I can draw the attention of the public through some awesome military tradition and music and those sorts of things, and bring more eyes and attention and volunteer hours and money into that community, then I've done a good thing. And that's primarily my goal right now.
Oh, shit. That was a dope-ass answer.
Just saying. That's a good question, probably.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was a good question.
Nah, that was badass. You know, one of the things that we push, man, is we're both sober. We're sober. You know what I mean? No alcohol. I can't do drugs no more. It's frowned upon. You know, things like that. No, but I'm hitting about, I'm 4.5 years, and William came up on a milestone not too long ago. Damn, ran out of breath again.
Yeah.
So,
congrats, bro, though.
Yeah, man. So it's something that we push and we preach. You know what I mean? Especially in the military culture, drinking is everywhere. You know what I mean? So we like to tell people, like, you know, hey, it's okay if you don't partake. Yeah. You know, I mean, I didn't hit my stride until after I stopped drinking. You know what I mean? That's when I started making things happen. That's when God started opening doors up for me, started blessing me with blessings. Because if he would have gave it to me before, I wouldn't have been ready for it. I wouldn't have known what to do with it. And hey, man, I'm just, you know, it's a lot of things that we talk about too, and I hear that in you, and that's dope.
Yeah. No, you know, the other thing that we said on the last show, you know, we had a guy, he says, a lot of folks see the younger generation as being soft, or like they won't call up to arms. And it's like amazing that the very next show after he says that, we've got a young man next to us, you know, that, and what Augie said was that you know, called BS is like this, the next generation is willing to be there, and to step up. And if they need it to be, they'll be there to fight and defend. And that's what we hear and that's what we see. And it's really great to have you on, man.
Oh, so tell us a little thing. I'm curious to know. Okay, so you were, let's say, basic training, your basic training class. Would you go to war with that basic training?
Oh, that's an awful question.
It is.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, I'd go to war with that class.
Yeah. Cool, man.
I mean, you'd imagine too, you'd have those drill sergeants leading you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, as long with the condition of we had some good NCOs on our team.
There you go, man.
But yeah, I'm confident in our people. I mean, at the end of the day, you think, name the generation. You think World War II era guys were all just gung ho, ready to go die? You'd be hard pressed to convince me that they were super excited about every aspect of that, but they were willing to do what they needed to do.
Right.
You know, I think of 9/11, what happened after 9/11 with recruitment. I mean, all of a sudden, everybody's patriotic, right? When they touch our soil. Same thing happened in World War II. We tried to take the pacifist approach, right, until they touched our soil. And now everybody's ready to go to war. And I feel like as long as our generation feels like they have something truly to defend, that's relevant to them, I think people will take up arms. But I think you have to convince that generation the way that generation is convinced. And that's why I think social media and those sorts of things are so important. Anything that we can do to shine a positive light on the military and what they do and the type of community that you'll be a part of, and that what you're fighting for is worth it, you have to communicate that effectively. And and that means you have to adjust to the times as well.
Bro, he needs to start making some videos for the Army and recruitment. Yeah.
No,
Hey,
man.
I want 50% of all your
Y'all want to know a crazy story though, and I can give you
Hell yeah,
more
we do.
context about this after the show. But long story short, I started recording all these cadences. You couldn't find a video of half these cadences online. And then a year later, the Army is sending an airborne platoon to go and sing cadences on America's Got Talent.
yeah.
Oh, shit.
Within a month, they start releasing recruitment videos with "I Left My Home" playing in the background. Not me, but a drill sergeant or whoever calling "I Left My Home." And all of a sudden, you start seeing cadences pop up everywhere, right? But I'm not complaining. I think that is a very positive thing because it tells you that the Army's marketing department, their PA, is paying attention to the trends.
Yeah.
Because you look at, and this is just my social media, not my videos that have been reposted or other people who've called cadences and those videos have gone viral, but just my videos, hundreds of millions of views across these things. And they can tell that the younger generation is gravitating to the military culture through the music, which is bizarre. But what happens when they throw that cadence in the background of a recruitment video? Well, the same thing that happens when you're listening to the radio and the jingle of that one radio show comes on and you go, oh, Dave Ramsey's on, right? Because it's that recognizable. Well, people hear "I left my home" and they start looking at the TV because they've heard it on TikTok. And so that tells me the Army's doing something right. I mean, the commercials are way better than they were a couple years ago.
Yeah,
sure.
So-
I mean, see, I joined with Be All You Can Be,
Me too.
and then that they brought that back.
They brought
because
it
there
back.
was a lot of, I don't know, a lot of drama with the Army and their sayings, but I think we're on similar missions. Raul and I, since we've been doing this together for over a year, man, coming up on 2. It's the fact that to shine light on, like, look, there's a lot of great things that the military gives you, especially being a veteran. Like, it really is a badge of honor. Yes, there are a lot of trauma and drama sometimes, but everybody has that. And all the veterans that we talk to is like, but we're better because of it.
Right.
Always, right? Like, to bring full circle on it, like, if you look at biblical stories, they're all about trials and how your faith can get you through it.
Sure.
Even at the end of the day, if you take your faith in God out of it, like, if you believe in one another and just keep pushing each other, all right, iron's going to sharpen iron. You're going to get better. And as veterans, it's like, get back together. Let's remember who we were and let's help each other.
Right. Well, and there's a trend that's gone around, which I think there's some validity to it, but people pushing this idea of don't let the military be your entire identity, right? I agree with that. There should be more substance to you than just your military service, or else what are you? You're just in competition with somebody else who's gone to more schools and seen more combat and had more experiences, right? And then you're less than. So you should have more to you than just your military experience. Sure. But just like Jesus is going to come up in conversation with me because that's a big part of my life, so is military. I mean, I've dedicated a lot of my time and mental energy and training and all of that to the military. It's obviously important to me. So lean into that if you need to, and be around like-minded individuals. So, like you said, the E4 Mafia is going to get you if you let them. If you want to be better in your spiritual life, but you never attend church and you're never around like-minded spiritual people, then you're not going to grow spiritually. If you want to get in better shape, go spend time at a gym, getting to know people at your gym. I think it's Hebrews 12 that says, consider the end of their ways and then follow it. So find someone who you can look at their life and say, hey, you got to where I want to be. Let me follow in your footsteps. Teach me the way, right? That's the whole idea of discipleship, mentorship, and that sort of thing. And that applies to all aspects of life. And again, you don't have to be a Christian for that to be true. A proverb's a proverb. Iron sharpens iron. And so finding that sense of purpose, finding the people who believe in the same thing as you and intentionally spending time around them is, one, going to tune out the noise, because there will always be noise. If you're online, there's always haters, that whole concept. It'll tune out that because you're listening to people who actually matter. And two, there's a wealth of knowledge and experience that you don't get unless either you learn the hard way and find out that knowledge through experience, or you just listen to the guy who's done it. And if you take that principle, that iron sharpens iron concept, and you take it to heart, and you're willing to examine yourself, and you're willing to not just take the knowledge and stick it up here, but actually apply it, find ways in your life to daily implement whatever they are telling you to do, it just makes a huge difference.
Man, I'm going to tell you, my last question for you is, as your music career continues to grow beyond the cadence aspect, if you had the opportunity to make a song, what do they call it? A duet? Is it a duet? I don't know.
I don't know.
With someone, who would it be?
Oh, man. Well, to be honest, you were talking about Yogi Bear is Dead and some of those. Some of the guys I've listened to over the last few years, I've met and now made songs with. So that's been super cool. So some of those are already checked off the list. One person, though, y'all know Jelly Roll?
Yeah. That's my
I'd do a song with Jelly Roll for sure.
Man. That's dude.
I've become a big fan of his over the last few months.
His positivity, man.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what else? And he's humble. He's genuine. He's genuine.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Well, I've heard really good things about it. So I've been working with this organization, Tunnel Towers. Y'all familiar with it?
Yeah.
So they just put in that veteran village in Tomball. I was there for the ribbon cutting and that sort of thing. I've gotten to know some of the people over there and trying to stay involved. Well, come to find out, Jelly Roll is also involved in that organization. And he had actually come to that location a few weeks before. So I was asking some of the people, well, yeah, I've been listening to him. What do y'all think of him? Same thing you were just saying. I've never heard an ill, what the frick am I trying to say?
Ill words about him.
Yeah, ill words about him. Everybody has something good to say. And that, at the end of the day, I'm not going to say I'll never reach the amount of success that Jelly Roll has. Because, hey, maybe I will.
Yeah.
But even if I don't, it doesn't matter. I want to be known that way, And so,
Like that, the
so
character.
finding people who've gotten to where you strive to be with the character that you want to have is important, I think.
That's dope. So two last things. First of all, thanks for your time, man. Really appreciate it. It's been a great conversation. We've really enjoyed ourselves. So how can people follow along with you? What are your calls to action for them?
Yeah, so I'm about to get banned on Facebook. So if you guys are following me on Facebook, find another platform and follow me, preferably YouTube. They keep saying I'm inciting violence through the cadences or something. But everywhere, I'm Jonathan Michael Fleming. So it's all one word, no dots, no spaces, no underscores. And if you misspell it, there's enough videos out there, I should still come up. And I have a pretty basic face, so it should be recognizable. But yeah, Jonathan Michael Fleming. I've done all the cadences and working on some more music. And William corrected me last time I was here. I said, I want to do all of this for the veteran community. On the selfish side, I want to continue my music career as well. I'm passionate about music, and I think I have something to offer. And he said, hey, shut up. That's not selfish. That's business. You're putting out music. You have something to offer. People are willing to listen to it. That's not a selfish thing. You're adding to people's lives. So I've tried to take that out of my vocabulary.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot more music coming.
Cool.
That's good, man.
And the last question is, Charlie Mike means continue mission. So when someone says Charlie Mike, what does that mean to you?
Man, I've got a similar phrase: keep marching, right? That I have on some T-shirts and whatever. But that means a lot to me. Specifically, looking back to my teen years, I won't just start spelling family business or whatever. But there were some rough times in there. Like I said, there were times people took me in. And I've seen that go both ways. I mean, you can only help somebody as much as they want to help themselves, right? I mean, I can pour into somebody all day, and if you don't want it bad enough, you're just not going to get it. And it's the same thing getting sober and those sorts of things, right? I mean, sometimes you want it for somebody, and they're just too hooked. So when it comes to Charlie Mike, just in life, man, you have to want it for yourself. The same concept we were talking about earlier. Discipline means you're fighting the small battles every day, and you're conquering those small things so that when the bigger challenges come, you're prepared. There's a verse in Jeremiah. Jeremiah is writing about the Israelites being overthrown by Babylon, and he says, if you have been tired by the footmen, how will you compete with horses? Mm-hmm. So if the infantry is overrunning you, what are you going to do when the cavalry show up? And it's that idea of every single day, you keep pushing that same discipline that you had in basic training. You carry that into the rest of your life. if it means waking up at the same time every day, you wake up at the same time every day. If it means starting the day with making your bed and working out, then you do those things. Starting with a prayer, all of those sorts of things that you find those daily disciplines, you fight those little battles, and you get control of your own mind, your own soul, your own body. Then when those bigger things in life come and you have the right community around you, your iron's already been sharpened. You're ready for that war.
Bravo, man. That was dope. William, you got one last thing to say, brother?
Yeah, as always, if times get hard and you have no one else to reach out to, the number is 988. If you're a military veteran, press 1. You know, that number is there. You can call it, you can text it, you can start a message online. You know, I've met those guys at the VA that run that hotline. Like, use it to the best of your ability. Check on your friend.
You guys, be sure to always check it out. Oh, man, I don't know what I was going to say. Be sure to check out CharlieMikeMilitaryApparel.com and buy you some swag. That's what makes all this possible. So also, be sure to remember to check out my man William on all his social media platforms at Mustache Wisdom for his daily motivational videos. And if you want to reach out to my man William, reach out to him at william@charliemikeleadership.com.
It's my hype man, brother. Gotta get you one.
I love it.
Ah, man, as always, Charlie Mike.